Welcome into SouthArkansasNow.com's coverage of high school football this week, previewing some of the games that we are going to be doing. I'm Grant Merrill. Sandy Sanford is here. Jax Sanford is here. And our special guest this week is Brad Caldwell with the Arkansas Sports Network. You see them all over the place on Facebook with their world-famous game of the week that they do. I know they've been to Smackover. They've been all over South Arkansas. They'll have Dardanelle and Hamburg this Friday. But Brad also assists ESPN Arkansas with their weekly high school sports coverage. So, Brad, thanks for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having me. I enjoy it.
I know this is something you and I have been involved in for a long time. I mean, we both grew up in the same area around Russellville, and you've been involved in high school sports for as long as I've known you.
Yeah, it's been a while now, and it just, I don't know, life takes you into funny places, right? And so
It does.
I have somehow made my way into the high school scene and been able to get paid for it. So I'm okay with that. I'm glad to be where I'm at right now.
Brad had two choices in life: a high school commentator or Pentecostal preacher. So, based on all of his aunts and uncles, they're all
Yeah,
evangelists. So you come from a great family. Well, let's get to
yeah.
sports today on this high school football Wednesday. I mean, we're 2 days away from some really, really big games, and we've got a lot of big games coming right out of South Arkansas, Brad.
Oh man, it is a great week for high school football. I mean, first week of the playoffs is fun, but there's still some teams, as I said before, separating the wheat from the chaff. I feel like that this week is going to be a great week, especially in 3A, 4A. Man, I mean, there's so many good games there, but then just really all over the state at this point. If you're in this point, you're good.
Absolutely. Jax, I know you've got some questions about various games around. Let's start with El Dorado and Lake Hamilton. That's our Class 6A matchup that we will have live on SouthArkansasNow.com Friday night at Shiloh Christian. And Jax, what are your opening questions about the perception of these two teams from around the state?
Yeah, so you've got two really good ball teams that are going to meet up on Friday night between the El Dorado Wildcats and the Shiloh Christian Saints. Shiloh's only lost two games all season, and both have been to undefeated teams by a narrow margin. The first loss coming to Lincoln Christian out of Oklahoma, who's been undefeated so far this year, and the second loss was a close loss to Greenwood out of the west side of the 6A conference, who is just been dominant for so long when it comes to high school football, just in whatever conference they've been in. And so, you know, what is the just what is the perception around the state surrounding this game between these two historically really good programs?
Well, I mean, as you said, two name programs, and El Dorado has been very solid this year. I really got a chance to see them against Camden Fairview. Love their running game, love their offensive line. I love their physicality in this game. They're going to be tested, though. They are going to be tested in this one because Shiloh is Shiloh. I mean, you want to talk about Greenwood being Greenwood. Well, Shiloh is Shiloh. They're right behind them. And really over the last 2 years, Shiloh has been the team that has challenged Greenwood probably as much as anybody has. And so, it's going to be a taller task for El Dorado, but it is something that, you go up there, you play the game. You go up there, you give your very best shot, and you see what happens. And when you're physical, that gives you an opportunity. And when you can run the football, that gives you an opportunity. And so, can El Dorado establish the run in this ball game? That's going to be the question. If they can, then they have the ability to keep the ball out of the offense of Shiloh, who averages 50 points a game. So that's a very important part of this ball game. The running game of El Dorado. Can they run the football on Shiloh? If they can, they've got a shot.
Yeah. And actually, just in my keys to the game that I have been looking at and getting prepared for Friday night's broadcast. One of the things that I actually pointed out was that the El Dorado defense is going to have to contain the explosive plays from Shiloh. They can't let anything go over the top, and Shiloh has some really fast wide receivers that have good hands. And so positioning and alignment from the El Dorado defense is going to be huge. And I know that Coach Abel's the defensive coordinator for El Dorado is going into this week. And I'm sure that he has game planned and game planned and game planned for everything he might think that Shiloh will throw at him.
Yeah, preparation's a big part of success of El Dorado. I'm sure Coach Chris Hill, he does a great job down there, and really expect them to give their very best effort. The thing that Shiloh is going to bring to the table, number one, if you think about Shiloh over the last, what, 6, 7 years, whatever it is, I think it's 7 years, they've been in the state finals every year. That it started in 4A, moved to 5A, moved to 6A. They're there last year, and in a good spot now to possibly do it again. So they have what they've done since they've joined the 6As. They figured out a way to get bigger, however means that is, right? Whatever it is that they did, they were able to get bigger, and they're able to be physical on the line of scrimmage. But man, I like El Dorado. I think El Dorado's a good football team. Um, I love their running game that they threw at Camden Fairview. I love their physicality. And again, I really believe that what this game comes down to is El Dorado's attempt of being able to hold on to the time of possession, keep the ball in their hands, old fashioned football in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I noticed I've watched so much film on high school football this year. It's insane. And I noticed when I watching Shiloh, the Shiloh Greenwood game, there were a couple times where Shiloh kind of struggled to keep the quarterback run contained. And watching El Dorado all year, you know that Cannon Jacobs is an absolute threat coming out of the backfield, not just throwing the ball, but as a runner. He's committed to University of Arkansas Monticello as a wide receiver. And so I think in this game, Jacobs is going to have to play one of, if not his best game of the season so far, because, like you said, El Dorado is going to have to hold on to and maintain time of possession with the ball. And it's going to, Jacobs is going to have to make some really good passes early on in the game to make the defense respect his ability to throw the ball. That way, they can establish the run that much better, I believe.
Yeah. I liked Samuel a lot at running back, big physical back. I really liked what he did. I think in the game that we did with Camden Fairview, I think Jacobs had 6 rushing touchdowns, and they were all from like 1 yard out. I mean, it was awesome. The play calling, he needed to go give the offensive coordinator a pat on the back on that one because that was awesome. But yeah, I like Jacobs a lot too. I like his moxie at quarterback. He's kind of the quintessential high school quarterback, right? He's tough, he's hard nosed, he can run your offense, he can make throws when he needs to make throws. I like your athletes. I mean, I just think you've got to give the best shot that you got against Shiloh. When you're playing Shiloh, playing Greenwood, I think those are the top 2 teams in 6A. You really just kind of got to throw caution to the wind, play as hard as you can. Again, execute in the best way you know how. Try to be physical at the point of attack. 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Keep this game below 30, and you've got a chance. If this thing gets to 35, 40, 45, that's going to be tough.
Sandy Sanford is
And
with us, and he, of course, has an innate ability to break down ball games as they're going on because I hear them in my earphones while he's producing our games. So, Sandy, let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the Wildcats and what Shiloh's up against from what you've seen all 10 games that we've played this year, 11 games, wherever we are now.
Well, Grant, I think first and foremost, what we have to look forward to is going to be a probably what Brad was just talking about, and that is an El Dorado team that's going to have to establish the run and just keep the ball. I'm slightly afraid that what's going to happen is Shiloh's going to score quickly. If El Dorado has been exposed defensively this year at all, to me, it's the secondary. And it's maybe misstepped routes. It's not speed. They don't have a speed problem. I think they have a route problem, route coverage problem. And so that's been exposed several times this year. And believe me, I know the coaches at Shiloh have been looking at that film and they're like, there, that's the play. So that's one of the things that jumps out to me. Brad, you're absolutely right in that El Dorado has to come out and establish that run. Now, here's one of the great things. El Dorado has a stable of at least 6 running backs who they can bring in the game. And outside of J.J. Samuel,
also, I believe they lost to Arkadelphia by like a 2-point game or something like that. So they've played a pretty tough schedule. They're so good at what they do. They've ran that wing T now for years and years and years and years and years there, and so they're really good. So despite, yeah, they're a pretty good team. 3-7 is probably a little bit of a fool's gold type of thing.
Let's move on to some other games that we've got going around. And don't forget, you can watch the entire El Dorado Shiloh Christian matchup coming up Friday night right here on SouthArkansas.com, SouthArkansasNow.com. I'll have the play-by-play, and Jax will be with us. And we're all road tripping to Northwest Arkansas, so we're looking forward to that. Junction City, that's going to be a big matchup coming up this weekend.
Yes, that is to me one of the more intriguing matchups in the bracket. Cross County is a team that can match them with size. Junction City is a huge team for 2A for sure. And if there's one team in the bracket that they can draw that might be able to match up with them, it is Cross County. Now, the question is, will Cross County be able to keep up with them? Maybe will they be able to slow them down? Maybe it's a better way of putting that. Danny Bill, a 4-star big time defensive tackle, formerly a Oklahoma State commitment there. He kind of anchors that team. He will also line up at quarterback. He'll also line up at tight end. He'll also line up at running back. I mean, they use him all over the field. So that is going to be an interesting test for Junction City. But, anytime that you have a game that could be more of a 50-50 ball game, always look at the home team. Always look at the mileage that somebody has to travel. It's a long way from where they're at Cross County down to Junction City. And so with that said, that's what Cross County is going to have to prepare for. Now, 2A2 conference, I think the 2A2 conference was probably the best conference in 2A this year, and they finished second in that conference. They finished right behind EPC. And so I expect that Cross County will come down and give Junction City all that they want this week. I'd take the Dragons, but would it surprise me if Cross County won that game? It would not.
Jax, you had Chris Morphus on 5th and Goal last night. Of course, the offensive coordinator at Junction City, former head coach at Hampton. This guy's been all over the place and really knows his stuff. Talk about the Dragons and how they're feeling coming into this game this week.
Yeah, I've really developed a really good relationship just over the course of the season with Coach Chris Morphus, the offensive coordinator, and Coach Byron Jones, the defensive coordinator, former Arkansas Razorback. And one of the big things that I get from this team is that, one, Coach Jones on the defense, his number one job and his number one focus week in and week out is getting the ball back to Coach Morphus and the offense. Mm-hmm. And they want to, and, to quote Coach Jones, they want to be greedy and play Dragon football. And so they want to be dominant. They want to take away opportunities from the opposing offense and then go down and score a lot on offense. Just like every team wants to do, but Junction City has done a really good job of it so far this year. They're 10-1 with their only loss being to a also 10-1 3A school in Smackover, who is a local rival as well. But Junction City has been able to put up an average of 40.5 points per game so far this season. And they've had 7 games so far this season where they've scored at least 43 or more points. And so I think that you brought up a really good point on if they can Cross County slow Junction City down to stay in it, because Junction City is going to do everything they can to slow Cross County down to a crawl. And we've actually seen this Junction City defense hold teams below 10 points a few times so far this season. And so they do match up really well physically, but I think that this Junction team is ready and they expect to be in a state championship.
Can I interject here real quick?
Yeah.
One of the things that, Jax was just talking about, and he hit the nail on the head, Junction has given up on average in 11 games this season 8 points a game. And now you think about, we talked about the size. Brad, you mentioned a while ago, Delonte Duff, 6'7", 274 pounds. Deuce Singleton, 6'4", 380 pounds. Lamarian Robinson, 6'3", 290. Nemo Caldwell, 6'4", 240. Tavion Jamerson, 6'3", 280. That sounds like an SEC line, not a 2A line. And I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things there. As Jax mentioned, Coach Byron Jones, who had obviously was previously a Razorback, and I was impressed. And one of the things he said, he has his defense he tells them, go get me that ball. And he said they did go out there and they produced a fumble on first down once, and the kid actually brought him the ball. So they take it very literal. He has said all season, playing dragon ball, and by that he means they don't just want turnovers; they want them on first and second down, and that's going to be one of the keys, I believe, to trying to fight this Junction City team, who has to be one of the favorites in 2A. My question, Brad, what happened in Hampton? They were the number 1 seed overall in 2A. What happened?
Well, one thing that happened, Mineral Springs moved up a really good freshman group, and obviously a really, really good freshman group. But something happened at Mineral Springs earlier this year. They figured it out. They started off 0-4. They've won 5 out of their last 6, and then they got that freshman group to come in. And obviously, that group is one to watch coming up because they were able not only to win that game, but win it 32-6. So that was a big time surprise there. And, now Mineral Springs sitting as a number 4 seed, and they've got to go to number 3 seed Desart for a game to see who goes to the semifinals that will meet this Junction City team or the Cross County team.
Brad, Smackover and Mayflower coming up.
Oh man, now this matchup right here has got to be one of the more fun matchups of the weekend because you have a dichotomy of schemes here. One, Smackover is one of the best offensive teams in 3A, and as far as defense goes, Mayflower's the best defense I've seen all year, regardless of class. They are fast, they are big, they are physical, and they're going to give anybody trouble. We did the Salem Mayflower game earlier this year, Salem being number 1 in 3A all year long. And I'll be honest with you, Mayflower had just a little bit more quarterback play, they probably would have won that game at Salem. I mean, Mayflower is a team that probably not enough people are talking about how quick and how fast that they are. Mitchell Polk there at Smackover has been tremendous this year, despite being injured part of the year. And, big credit to Smackover for the fact that they were able to ride the wave and be able to keep from falling apart when Polk was out. They were able to win every game except for the one game that they lost to Bismarck, who Bismarck I consider a team that is right there for state championship in 3A. I mean, to me, if you look at Mansfield, you look at Bismarck, you look at Salem, and you look at Charleston. Those are my 4 that I think are the heavy favorites to win the state championship in 3A. And the first 3 are probably the heaviest of those 4. So with that being said, I think this game is going to be a great game. It's going to be a fun game. I will say, I think if Smackover can hold Mayflower to 20 points or less, I think they've got a shot. I do question Smackover's defense a little bit. I think that Smackover will find it a little bit more tough sledding this week compared to what they found in the past. But I know that offense is very explosive, and I do expect them to score some points.
Well, and I also want to say when Polk was out, Smackover had to take their best defensive player and transition him over to the offensive side of the ball to play quarterback. And so having him back on defense, I think will really add back to Smackover's defense and has over the past couple of weeks. And so I think that I don't want to discount Smackover's defense any because of a few games where they didn't have their star player on defense because he was busy playing quarterback.
Yeah. You're exactly right. But they've got the athletes to be a team that could make it deep into the playoffs. This is, I mean, obviously it's a key game because it's a playoff game, but if you can see Smackover get through this game, then maybe you could consider them one of those teams that could make it to Little Rock as well.
Sports
All right.
Illustrated actually has. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go